My guest today is Sewela Langeni, a seasoned marketing and communications professional, author of the children's book Making Friends with Feelings, and owner of an independent bookshop, Book Circle Capital. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
What's behind the name Book Circle Capital as the name of a bookshop? I mean, I get the book part.
Yeah.
But the Book Circle Capital feels...
But the real story behind the shop is that I didn't find it. I didn't found it. I didn't create it. It was created by Sewela Langeni, who's my husband.
Okay.
So he started it when he was entrenched at APSA. So even the name is his. But then this question has come up and I've asked him, look, where does this name come from? And from his explanation, the circle comes from the gathering around books. Mm-hmm. The capital is the knowledge, the wealth that comes from it, whether it's monetary or whether it's brain power. So that's essentially it.
So you had to go and verify.
Yes.
So if he started it,
yeah,
how come you're the face of it?
It's something that's
you take over from your husband. You take your husband's project.
He gave it to me.
Okay.
He gave it to me formally. Even if you go to CIPC, it's my company. But it was started by him. So I stepped in as a supporting spouse. In 2017, when he first set it up in Maboneng, I just came in to do the pot plants. I came in to I brought the kids. We're celebrating Daddy has a project. And yeah, I started like that. And then over time, when we saw that, okay, the excitement around opening an African bookstore has waned a little bit. Now it's like, how do we get people in there? Then the marketer in me came in, events, social media pages, that kind of thing. And then over time, I'd have ideas. He's a super introvert. So he's just like, the books are there, get in, look at the books and leave me alone. And I'm there, what are you reading? How can you help me with that? So it was more of a complementing thing of our personalities. And over time, so the bookshop unfortunately then faced a major tragedy in Maboneng where it flooded badly and we lost books, we lost shelf space. He almost lost his mind that time. So my stepping in was even more around what do we do? I remember we did an event at a coffee shop down the road because we had already secured an event with Dr. Judy Dlamini. And another author who wrote Dare Not Linger, Mandla Langa.
Yes.
And we had to then do it at a coffee shop down the road.
Two proper heavy hitters.
Exactly. So we had to have a backup plan. So I started like that as a supporting based on just my skills and just being a people's person. And then over time was like, hey, this is your thing. You seem to be really flourishing. Just do it. And that's why the takeover happened. Yeah.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I actually wanted to sing. I thought I'd be an opera singer. I thought I'd study B-Mass or something. That's what I thought I was going to do.
Why?
Because I grew up in a family where we sing a lot. We sang. My mom sang. We sing with our brothers. To this day, when we go home, we take out the hymn book. We sing. I love music. I sang in choirs from a young age. I remember in primary school, I was in the Leboa Khomu choral. I was part of that. So I've always sang. So I thought it would be something that I'd do. But my mom was like, who's going to pay for everything else while you sing? And then I thought, okay, writing would be the next thing. I studied journalism. So I always thought marketing, PR, journalism, as I was in high school, now it became clearer. But the main thing was singing.
I mean, you did journalism, and I was looking at it it's like you did journalism, and then you did a BA in communication science.
Yes.
And it feels like you found your place.
Yes.
Because you did the BA, and then you did an honors.
Yes.
And you've gone down that trajectory.
Yes.
So the journalism thing, did it fall by the wayside, or?
I think it added to it. I think I just didn't see the newsroom when I finished. I studied at Technikon Pretoria, which is now TUT, I think. And in the last year, you could actually be, as part of the diploma, there was a newsroom. So that deadline, that going anywhere and everywhere for a story. I think that just didn't land with me. I liked the broadcast because then you could we had a studio on campus. We could interview. I remember I interviewed Sis Dolly. I don't know if you remember Sis Dolly. Yes. As part of
agony auntie.
Yes. One of Sheila so was my partner. We got to interview her. That spoke to me more. So, but then the newsroom, in as far as I enjoyed it, but I just didn't see it. So I thought, okay, maybe pursue something more around PR. And that's where then I just kept on. Yeah.
And you made that shift a lot earlier than most people, because
yes,
if you think over the last, let's say 10 years, with journalists shifting to PR.
Yes.
And for a lot of people, it's selling out.
Yes, yes.
And going to the dark side.
And the safe side.
Yeah, going to the dark side, the other side.
Yes.
Because of consistency and steady income.
Yes.
And you made that transition early. So at least you're allowed.
Yes, I never even walked into a newsroom. Besides at school, I never really walked in a newsroom properly. Yeah.
I am curious your view of this idea of newsrooms, because you've been on that side so much. And I asked that because I recently ran a series of masterclasses for a PR and comms agency. And I looked at kind of newsrooms and I talked to them about newsrooms and interacting with newsrooms. And for me, key to it is that the idea of a newsroom as it was is no more, and is extremely under-resourced. Newsrooms have also been juniorized. There's I'm asking you a question, but I'm giving you my opinion and everything. But also there's a lack of, I don't even know if you say unbiasedness, but there's kind of, it literally is just to churn stuff out. And this is what social media is creating. And I'm curious from there for kind of a PR and a comms perspective, and you've been in that space for so long, what it's like, or how navigating the relationship with media has changed over the last 10, 15 years plus for you.
Yeah, it's been exactly the points you've made around realizing that it's not as almost purist as it was when we had Professor Diedrich, who's quite well known for journalism, and he was quite a stickler for process, the 5 W's and H, making sure that your sources are protected, that kind of thing, making sure that they're legit where you got your info from. And now, where I can sit with somebody who just tells me who they are quickly, actually wants me to write the questions and answer them. And I'm like, okay, what are you going to do? Some of them even ask me to write the whole thing. And then they just change a few things and put a byline. So I just feel like the properness of it is waning. But then I'm a judge of the Sunday Times Literary Award. I've been for last year and this year, 2025. And I walked through the newsroom at Sunday Times and I saw so many of the journalists I grew up admiring who are still there. There was a half a corner where it was mostly young people, but then I saw like Tabiso Muchiko from Business Day, and I studied with her. We did the same year, and she's still there. Philip Khosana, so many people who are still there, and I was thinking, okay, maybe it's not that bad. There is a balance in between, because I know the type of work they do. I still read some of their articles. And then, but there's also the side where I get even at the bookshop, I'll get somebody saying, tell me, I see you're interviewing whoever. Give me the headline of what is, and I'm like, you don't want to read the book, you don't want to research a bit what the person is about. There's that instant thing that I get, which doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, I mean, it's I met somebody who called themselves a journalist. It was like a media influencer. Like they work for a media company, but they position themselves as an influencer. And they were on a panel, I was facilitating a panel of many kind of like influencers. And I struggled with that one. And this person worked for a media house where I have friends. And I was like, okay, how do you reconcile? Like, how does this person reconcile that? Like, you're going to do things because you have a relationship and because there's a campaign, but then you're also / a media person or borderline journalist. Like, I mean, so I call myself a writer.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, like, I have a lot of respect for journalists who do journalists things.
Yeah.
I'm not that.
Okay.
I'm a writer.
Okay.
I'm the same. I'm not going to go into the house or go into the place or do the interviews or on the ground. No. Like, I'm also introverted.
Yes.
And that's also very uncomfortable and awkward for me.
Okay.
So, but I write.
Okay.
And I've worked for media, but I write within particular contexts. But with that understanding of kind of my space, meeting somebody who says, okay, they work for a media house, but they're also an influencer, I struggled with it a lot.
What are they influencing on news from the media?
They're sitting on this panel for this organization to talk about media campaigns.
Yeah.
But it's become so. I mean, it's become so blurry.
It has. It definitely has. I've had people who joke around in the office, you know, the hat I wear. So my main job is Liberty Financial Services. And then whom I've declared, they know I own the bookshop. Once a year, I have to fill out a form to say, you know, compliance thing, make sure that there's no conflict of interest in anything that I do. So if people are doing book stuff, I don't want to be close to that, you know. So if I am, it must be clearly, you know, declared. But then some people will say, oh, you're a book influencer. I'm like, not really. Not real. I just happen to love books. I'm a bookseller. So if you ask me what you're reading, if I'm pushing a book, it's probably I'm doing something with the author. We're driving sales. And in general, I just want to develop a reading culture for our stuff, but not in a in-your-face kind of thing. I still need to employ somebody to really work on our pages and do all those things. But I also believe in things growing organically.
That's a symptom of book talk.
Yeah, which is big.
And I'm still trying to figure out how to get in there.
Yeah.
It's too late for too late for my first book.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, the bookshop has a TikTok account, but we can't keep up in just having to update it about everything we do. It did pick up a little bit. I mean, you and I spoke earlier about just the ups and downs of having to start things, and sometimes you're doing it by yourself, sometimes you get help. So TikTok was something we opened when somebody who was working there part-time, I mean, she has a degree in commerce, and she was waiting for her main job. So she came to me and said, can I just do something while my main lady was on maternity leave? So she loves TikTok. So our account got really, really big that time. She had ideas, she followed the trends. But when she left, it kind of left with her. So we probably need to employ somebody to look at that. But I'm also still struggling to monetize the connection, the amount of time we spend on that, and actually having books sell. So that's still something I'm trying to figure out. Does it actually lead to sales?
What's your relationship with books? Where does that start?
I mean, that started a while ago. My mom used to have those Reader's Digest. I don't know if you remember the 3-4 combos.
No, my father.
Ne?
I grew up on Reader's Digest, so I know exactly what you mean.
Yes, there were about 3 or
that.
4 novels in one, that hardcover. So I would have those books. My mom always had books around the house, but it still didn't click that I would be here where I am with books. And so she was quite, not strict, but she'd like us to just page through. It was before Google is what it is now. So my mom had books about knitting, books about herbs, books about any problem that you had, she'd find a book. I mean, they'd book books about a computer. So I think that's where books were, but they were not, I still didn't see them as what they are now. I think where books really started making sense for me was high school, where then, I came across, Toni Morrison, I came across Chimamanda, where I saw books that spoke about stuff I know, where she spoke about feelings that I'm sometimes feeling. And then I'm like, okay, that's something else. Then I've always just then read for myself, just books that I bought for myself where I felt seen. But really, what they are now, because of the bookshop, is an escape, is it's therapy sometimes. I mean, I told you I just finished Brianna West. That was seriously therapeutic for me. It's mentors, people that you wouldn't have access to, like I'm sitting across you now, but then through the book, then I can get some lessons. I mean, a book like Boardroom Dancing by Noluta Fakude, when I first read it, I was like, wow, a woman like her talking about the type of boardrooms that she then got exposed to post BE, those kind of things. So books are almost like a companion, and now books are a job. I mean, I have to read, to interview authors almost on a weekly basis. The judging thing also is a big thing. So books have become really a serious part of my life now.
How do you balance that? So, I mean, I couldn't do the reading as a job.
Is it?
Yeah, like let me say, how do you decide? So outside, separate of the ones that are work in inverted commas, how do you decide on what to read?
For fun, for myself, outside of the ones. I think it's, depending on where I am, I don't read fiction quite easily. I like nonfiction facts, biographies, memoirs, topics about people's life. I enjoy fiction, especially when we're closed during the holiday. Just a steamy story, friends, whatever, just a good laugh. And then ones that I'm reading where it's maybe mentally I'm feeling out of sorts about something and I just want to process it without time to go and see somebody about it. That's what I'll decide to read. Or people that I look up to. People that I look up to and I just want to know what they're up to, then those are the books I decide. But the more I'm been doing this, the less time I'm getting to read for fun. I've noticed that. I mean, now now that you're asking me, Brianna West was the first book I read for fun since this whole year began, because there was always an event happening at the shop. Then it was the Sunday Times judging, which is about 26, 27 books. And there wasn't all the fiction stuff that I've kept on the side. I'm hoping December I'm gonna get time.
Yeah, so for me, getting my head around that reading for a purpose, reading for a function. Like I can't compute how you get through, for example, like 26 books.
Yeah.
To sit down and kind of go, okay, I need to read these.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to sit and I'm going to read all of them. I have no concept of that.
I'm someone that if I decide something, I commit, even if it's not fun. And I'm beginning to learn now that I don't have to commit to everything. I think I was raised by quite a strict mom, and her thing is like, you start something, you finish it. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's not fun. And the older I'm getting, the more I'm like, some stuff, no.
What did your mother do?
She was a nurse. And then later she was in education. She was like an accounting clerk. She always had a side hustle. She sold clothes in a catalog. You know, it's a pleasure. She's always, and then later she was like baking scones. So she's always like, you can't be idle. Her favorite line is an idle mind is a workshop of the devil. That's an so I think that thing, like I gave my word. I said I'm gonna read them. So I introduced a new routine. I woke up like at 4 to read before. And anyway, my sleep was beginning to end. Anyway, I can start hearing the bird even though I'm forcing. So I might as well use that time for something. So it became, I believe you can train yourself to do stuff. I mean, I've ran comrades 4 times. So my threshold for pain, as I heard from my doctor, is quite high. So maybe that's another reason. I don't know.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you about the running.
Yeah.
But we'll come back to that.
Okay.
So I'm just like, it's like you're talking about kind of December in terms of finding that balance between what you're reading for fun
Yeah.
and what you're reading for work. And I guess the reason why I'm focused in on that is because I found that, so there was a period where I wasn't reading,
Okay.
and not reading was affecting my writing. This is many, many years ago, because I grew up reading.
Okay.
So I grew up from a very young age. My father, like I was saying, the
Yes.
Reader's Digest. There's the little magazines of
Yes,
Reader's Digest.
yes,
and
I
had
remember the
books.
yes.
I had Disney books, like I was part of, the fairy tales and a compendium.
Yes.
Like I had all of that. So I always read.
Yeah.
And then there was a period in my, let's say, mid to late 20s and then early 30s, where I realized I wasn't reading. And so I consciously went back to reading. And I always tell people, like, I made it a habit. So
Yeah.
I read for a minimum of 10 minutes every night before I go to bed. So the last thing I do.
Yeah.
And over time, I've gotten to the point where I'll read before I watch something.
Yes.
Right. I also was reading a lot of, growing up, I used to get into trouble not for not reading. I used to get into trouble for reading fiction
Okay.
only.
Yeah.
Because my father felt that you should actually lean towards nonfiction. It must be functional. It must be productive. You must be gaining.
How is it going to benefit you?
Yeah, gaining knowledge from it. And so at some stage, I went the other way. So I only read nonfiction. And then I found that I was not having fun anymore. Yeah. Because everything was, I'm trying to life better.
Yes.
I'm trying to adult better.
Yes.
So everything I was reading was for that. So now I sway between the two.
Okay.
But I also cannot determine, I could not tell you if you put a book in front of me or you put 5 books in front of me. I can't tell you which one's going to appeal to me in that moment.
Yeah.
And so having to pick it up and read it when it's not appealing to me. That's why I say I can't compute.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, yo, like I looked at the back and there's nothing, eh?
Yeah.
There's nothing. So I haven't read a lot of the people that you're supposed to have read.
Yes.
If you're an African who reads.
Yes, we actually spoke about this the first time.
I've not read a lot of them, and then I've read some of them. And I read them, the ones I read was because I picked up the book and there was something that said, read me. And I've also picked up the same book every week for 4 months. And the last time I pick it up and I'm looking at the same book. It's the same copy. Nothing has changed. I'm in the bookshop or I'm in the library. And then this one day, I pick up, I look at the same stuff and it goes, hey, read me.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I wouldn't do as a judge for something like that.
You wouldn't.
Nah.
I guess it's there's compartmentalizing there. It's like, okay, I need to do this for that. And there are some books there, even as I pick them up, I'm like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get through this one? And we laugh about it even as judges afterwards. And I feel comforted when other people have the same experience. And then there are some books that are like, wow, this, even if it wasn't on the thing, I was probably going to read it. But in my mind, it's a job. It must be done. That's it. And that's why you're allowed 2 years. So when they asked me if I want to shift to another panel, I said no. Because now I feel like I look forward to seeing what my reading journey looks like in 2026. Because I did feel like the joy of it was getting stolen a little bit, in as far as I love it. And then it helps also because not only am I a bookseller, then I'm called on to talk about books. What are the new books? That helped with that. Because then at least I was always in the know about what's happening. So now next year I'll have to do a bit more work in searching for myself. But at least I don't have to finish a big book on mining or something. Yeah.
And then how does this all balance out with the day job?
Yeah. So COVID was actually such a big blessing on that balance, because I didn't know how it was going to work until COVID happened, to be honest with you, because everything shut down. But with the bookshop because it was books, it was marked as essential services, if you remember. So we could open.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, bookshops could be essential services.
Oh.
Yeah, so I got that license. I was open, then I was there. Even though nothing really happened, but then I could work from anywhere. Even when we then went back to the main job, they were like, no, this place is not ready for you guys. So maybe once or twice a week, that's the most you could do. And I could work from anywhere. So it just showed what's possible. I still didn't even know it could be a balance that it is now, but it showed what's possible. So I think that's when then that happened. That's when then I declared, I'm like, okay, this thing is happening. There's a lot of after hours working for the bookshop. There's a lot of early mornings. There's a lot of Saturdays. In the past 2 years, we would do events on like a Thursday night, but it's not feeling as safe anymore, especially in Melville. So now we're doing strictly Saturday afternoons because we're catching a lot of like book club meeting times, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of after-hour stuff, early morning and weekends. That's the balance that happens. But in as far as to-do lists, what needs to be done, order books, meetings with Kojo, that is just one big program. You just need to be disciplined about your time, fit in where. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are strictly main job days. I don't do anything on those days. Other days, a bit more flexibility, but I'm working. Yeah.
Was that easy for you in terms of finding that? So one of the things I felt with COVID and the lockdowns. So for quite a while, I've worked for myself. And I've learned to kind of create my own, let's say, workflow. I've learned how not to feel guilty when I'm doing something that seems random at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I'm not working, I'm not doing something productive that's revenue generating.
Yes.
You know, like I'm in the mall cruising, or I'm at a bookshop, or I'm going for a coffee. Like I've gone through because you feel guilty.
Yes.
Because society tells us, 8 to 5.
Gotta be productive.
You have to be working, you have to be productive. All your hours must be about being productive and earning an income in some form.
Yeah.
So when COVID came, I already had my rhythm.
Okay.
And I watched other people now try to find that space. And I felt, and I still feel, that lockdown was an opportunity for human beings to discover what's important and to realize that there are other ways of living.
Yeah.
That incorporate work, but are not only about work.
Yeah.
Sadly, I saw a lot of businesses, and I did some writing around it, but I saw a lot of businesses, especially corporates, starting to reverse that.
Yeah. They're doing it now.
Starting to reverse that, where it's like all of a sudden you're going back to what was unsustainable.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be in the office Monday to Friday. Yeah. Dress code. Like, it's just so weird.
But how easy was it for you to find that new rhythm? I mean, you had something else.
Yes.
So you wouldn't be totally focused on the main job, even though, for example, you're at home.
Yes.
You had something else to at least clear the mind.
It wasn't easy still, though. It wasn't easy. And I realized how much I defined myself by my job. Like the waking up in the morning, the getting dressed, the commute, the podcasts I'd listen to, it's almost like I needed to, who am I now that I don't have this routine? It wasn't easy. And some days I felt like maybe it's like I define myself a lot about work. Like that thing where those hours are unaccounted for, and I'm learning to rest. I'm learning to do nothing, and it's okay. And there's a lot of mental chatter around, what are you doing? You could be doing this, you could be doing that. And now, as you're saying, I'm getting better at learning to just living life and not having to. So it wasn't easy. It wasn't very easy to adjust to that. And then even then, the books swallowed me also, because then I must do something. I must do something. So it wasn't easy, and I think I'm still learning to find a balance. Where I was a while ago and where I am now, it's better, but it's still having to like question myself. Okay, why was this? If let's say something get cancelled, but why did it mean so much that you're now so hung up on it, So those, and now I'm beginning to question, instead of saying, how can they cancel that on me? Now I'm like, okay, maybe this frees up something to do something else. Yeah.
In the bookshop, so I can imagine also that evolution or that kind of internal process possibly has changed the way you view the bookshop and what success looks like for the bookshop.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's not people ask me, what's your 5-year plan? Are you going to open another shop? I'm like, no, definitely not, until I can get, because already it's a fine balance of not trying to exhaust myself. I'm still a mom, 2 boys, 13 and 11, who need me proper. So just that balance of, so there are dreams of seeing this bigger, but now the goal is like, there is a space where people can find African literature, we can celebrate. That's the goal right now. Anything else, if it happens, let it happen organically.
And then you decided to write a book yourself.
Yes, I did. And it was the journey of being a mom. I think that led it, and also being a bookseller, where people are like, where are the boys on the cover? Where are the boys on the... I get a lot of that from parents. Where are the boys on the cover, mommy? We've loved the movement of girls and skin color and hair and affirmation. Even my boys themselves would ask. There was a book, actually, The Girl with 21 Questions. So this girl is asking questions about things that she sees, even around, why is Sipo not sweeping, but I'm told to sweep? Those. And I read that book to them. And my elder said, mommy, boys have questions too. Where is a book about boys and their questions? And that sparked a thing. But it had been gnawing on me to say. So that's led it. So and I'm a big believer on talking. I believe anything, we have to just lay it out, even if it's not pretty. And I've noticed my boys, the older they get, the more quieter and withdrawn they're becoming about everything. There was a time where I'd have to beg them for some quiet time. Now it's like, fine. Everything fine, good, fine. And yeah, that's the journey behind the book, making friends with feelings.
It must be interesting because, you are so you have a household that's male dominated.
Yeah.
But raising boys in this world. And I get that, like, because I have a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly, and then I have my wife.
Yes.
So it's equal. Right?
Yeah.
So it's two.
Yes.
But also it's the two of us trying to raise these two individuals.
Yes.
But it's finding, it's navigating the evolution of the boy versus the evolution of the girl. There's their relationship, but it's really as parenting either. And I speak a lot around, I think a lot around kind of masculinity and manhood and being a father and that sort of stuff. But I never actually thought about, as in terms of literature and the literature that's out there and that's coming, because we have a lot of kids' books.
Yes.
But how it actually is skewed.
Yeah.
So what was the process of writing the book?
So I guess it helped that I was a bookseller, so I have a relationship with publishers. So my publisher, New Africa Books, already does a lot of children's books. So Lebohang Masango has all her books by them. So I told Dushanka, who's my publisher, about this idea, that I have this book idea. And she was like, just write and send me. So the process is you write your story. I was lucky that Lorato Trok, who's also a children's book author, and she does workshops with authors, I asked her to just have a look at my story and give me an idea, because writing for children is not as easy as we think it is.
Terrifying.
She was like, she read my story. She's like, you've already made so many conclusions here. You are almost preaching. This has to be a story. This almost has to be a conversation. So my lead character is Luba Balo. So have Luba have this. If you want to say something, say that as a sentence for him, and then Lisade, who's his imaginary friend, must speak back. So take it down a notch. So she gave me like a little workshop where we spoke through that. And then when that was ready, then we sent it to the publisher. She still did her own editing of herself because she's her own army of, I didn't have a title. They then did the title and then gives it to the illustrator. Subi Bosa was a well-known illustrator with kiddies' books. And then there was a book. That's essentially the process. But if you're doing your own by yourself, because I'm seeing a lot of self-published people doing it by yourself, you almost run everything yourself. Yeah. You have to then find a whole army on the other side to help you. But if you're going to the traditional side, you then just write the story and then they help you with everything else. Even what you dream may not be, you would know this as an author yourself. What you would even thought you were going to be, even the title of your book might change.
So I would say children's writing for children terrifies me. And then right behind that is writing fiction.
Yeah.
Because I have written nonfiction most of my life.
Yeah.
The closest I got to kind of fiction is poetry. Which is kind of, it's weird. Like it has its own space.
Yes.
And there's somebody that approached me for a project that may need a children's book at some stage.
Okay.
And I've been trying to figure out how to push them to get somebody else if we get there. It's a multi-pronged project that I'm involved in, but it's like there's different components and I'm like, okay, over here I'm cool, I work on this, laying the groundwork, but I'm kind of like, how do I lay the groundwork such that I can find anybody to actually write the children?
Yeah. No, I think you should do it.
But also fiction, fiction.
Yeah.
Because it's easy for me. Like that muscle.
Yes.
That muscle is the one that's really in shape.
Been exercised.
Even my poetry muscle is totally out of shape. Like I can't, it's work to write poetry.
Yeah.
And I come from writing 3-4 poems a day.
Yeah.
So any more books to follow that up?
No, absolutely. Just this morning, I actually had an inspiration for another children's book. I saw a clip of some guy online who was in class and he was asking boys, you know, have you noticed how when you come home, your mom will ask you how your day was and you just say fine or you just say good and you close it. I'm going to challenge you. And then he keeps recreating the scene. He walks out of the class, walks again, try again, explain. And then they'll say it was boring. Okay, why was it boring? It was boring because I actually can't understand maths, you know, some questions. It was so rich to see how much, and my boys tell me things are boring all the time, and I just leave it at that. But actually, what if we just dug deeper into boring? Why was it boring? So there are many books that I have in mind. There's one that I submitted. I don't know when we'll have it out with the publisher, but yeah.
Yeah, so how old are your boys?
13 and 11.
Okay, there's the teenage phase.
Yes. Is it going to get worse? Am I going to get less and less words?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a 14 and 18-year-old. I talk about them often.
Yeah.
And yeah, even my daughter, who's been my person.
Yeah.
But even with her, in the car in the mornings, it's everybody has headphones in.
Yeah.
And she's fine.
Sure.
And if I probe her, she's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, how was school? Okay. Well, all right. Just all right. Yeah.
You just have to leave it.
It's like, yeah, okay. And then I'm navigating the becoming, a young woman, so a teenage, and so I'm even navigating that and hormones and tone and that sort of stuff, and it's knowing when to step in or knowing when to kind of go, okay, that's unacceptable.
Yes.
And just leaving it alone because that's the thing. And this morning actually I'm not a morning person. And I realized, because my daughter generally in the mornings, even though I'm not the best morning person, but if I ask her a question, she'd answer.
Yes.
Now she's like, she feels irritated it looks like she's irritated by everything, including what's happening.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah.
And then I was like, this morning I was like, yeah, but actually she's not necessarily a morning person either.
Yes.
So as a non-morning person myself, why am I trying to
I
force?
can empathize.
Why am I trying to force anything in the mornings? Like
Yeah.
I put on my music.
Yeah.
And they sit with earbuds and we drive to school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'd love to hear how things are going.
Let's have a talk in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to it. But yeah, I think I'll still be writing a whole lot of stories about raising boy children. They will inspire me for stories, maybe even chapter books, because that market, I think we're leaving. So we're good now as parents on this crusade to decolonialize what our children are reading, and then we almost lose them in that between ages of 12, because then it's all the international stuff. Not that there's anything.
They're young adults.
Yes, not that there's anything wrong with it, but then what's in the gap for local stories? So that's why I'm saying, please do write, and especially like.
Don't talk to me about it.
Yeah. Please do.
I don't know.
Please still. Well, if the gap comes, but yeah, I'll still be writing.
I came across a young guy. I assume he was young. Because I collect graphic novels and comic books and stuff. And so there was a festival recently, not Comic-Con, I think it's called Icon. And I actually went and I met a young black guy who's written fantasy, it's a fantasy series for young adults.
Okay.
I actually bought a copy of one. And then, so he had his series, which I think had 3-4 books.
Yeah.
And then there were 3 other books that were standalone. He's like, oh, my brother wrote those.
Wow.
And they were all, he said they were all basically targeted young adult.
Yeah.
I think one could be read by all ages.
Yeah.
All ages. So I bought one just to try it out. I haven't actually started it. But I think also they are, because we're also, with the kids now, like we're living in a time when doing for themselves is a lot easier.
Yes.
But they do separate from the the systems and the spaces that have already existed.
Yes.
So, I mean, you're a bookseller, you're an independent bookseller, but you're plugged in. Like, you know the publishers, you know all of this stuff.
Yes.
But when I looked at this guy and I was hearing his story,
I
mean, he has a website, they have a company.
Wow.
It's like there are probably more kids like him.
Yes.
Who, in a way, we need to get into.
We have to.
Into that.
Absolutely. And as a bookseller, when I find people like that, I'm excited. I get it in, and then because of that lack of support, sometimes when then the demands comes, let's say you're doing everything yourself, and then you get to a point where maybe studies take over now. Then what happens to that? Because we've created a demand, that. So in as much as I love that we're doing stuff for ourselves, we need to also be plugged in, especially now when we're still building and you don't have the capacity to do everything yourself. Because then when the human being you is tired, there's no system to make sure that what you've started carries on. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. We've had, one of the casing studies, we had there's a chef, I forgot his name, and he passed away, unfortunately, during COVID. He took the rights to his book. His book is called Dijo. I'm sure you know. Le Seuch. He bought the rights to his book. Yes, he bought the rights to his books from Jacana.
Okay.
And I don't know what's happening. That book, we still need it. But now we can't get it. So stuff like that.
I actually have a copy of Dijo. I didn't get it when it came out, but I also knew Nadia Chakana,
Yes.
and I knew Lesego. Like
Yes.
I mean, we were friends. Like we knew each other mainly on social media, but he was one of those people I had a relationship with beyond social media.
Yeah.
And I remember she actually organized a copy of the book for me.
Yeah.
When there were no copies,
Yes.
when you couldn't find copies.
Yes.
And like you're saying, I mean, copies, I remember they eventually ran out.
Yes.
And then unfortunately he passed and then she passed.
Yes. Yes.
Because she was also someone who championed.
Completely.
I mean, she was on my case to say, listen, after your first book, let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
About your next book.
Yeah.
When I still thought I was going to do a next book.
Yeah.
Now I don't. Now I oscillate between, okay, I've done it.
It's coming.
But yeah, I mean.
So it's that point you're making.
I guess that's the next stage of kind of legacy and how we have let's call it the difficult conversation. I mean, so I always said to my family, like I have copies, I have a couple of boxes of my book.
Okay.
And I'm always like, yo, when I go, there's money, milk it.
Yeah.
Milk it for all it's worth.
Yeah.
And when I was in poetry days, I have a manuscript, like I have a 300 plus page manuscript of poems that I'm toying with. Kind of started half-heartedly editing and toying with just putting out a collection of poetry for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Because I did my first book, I self-published my first book in 2005. I'm just like, I'm not doing it for the money.
Yeah.
The stuff is there. But I always tell my wife, yo, if anything happens, like I've got journals, if you can make a buck out of any of these things,
do it.
Grab them and make a buck.
Yeah.
But there's no system.
Mm-hmm.
There's no system to it.
Yeah.
So it then gets kind of lost in, let's call it lost in the ether.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a sad thing.
It is. It is. And I don't even have like an immediate solution. It's just, as you have a conversation with each person, hopefully somebody listening here, and then they reach out to somebody, and then we create that network for ourselves. That's the reason why what I love about Book Circle is that I may not have the answer, but there's somebody in the audience that may know something. I've had people come there for an event and they come back and they say, hey, I met this lady for the first time at your shop and we went on to do this, this and that. It's that capital, that circle. So that's that. I don't even have the answer to some of the stuff, but then I'm like, this is what I know. This is who I know. Talk to them and see what you guys can do. I mean, Nadia, she gave me so much of a chance. I mean, she would always like insist that let's have this stuff at the shop. During COVID, when she was launching her authors, it was Terry, Terry, and the guy that did Kamer. How can I forget his name now? I mean, so those we couldn't gather because book events were not allowed, but then she would bring authors and then would do content live from the shop. You know, she would be live off the publisher's page, I'd be live on our page, take content, that kind of thing. Always just making sure that we stay out there, even if we're not selling an actual book, but we're showing that people are writing. I mean, there's a lot of authors that launched books during that time who still feel hard done by because their books never had like an event. Are you one of them? Okay, sorry to open a wound.
So the thing that I try to remind myself is that my book came out around that period.
Yeah.
And I think I know I've had the conversation with Ayob, but I think I've also had the conversation with a couple of people on the podcast. Because when I look at how certain books have done, particularly in the last 2-3 years.
Yes.
And then you kind of go, okay, so does that mean my book wasn't good enough? Because there was never that kind of attention. So I had my book was my launch was online.
Okay.
On I think it was on the exclusive page.
Okay.
And then I had a signing.
Okay.
My signing was 2 days after they announced the third wave. Do you remember when there was the third wave and then everybody, like my wife had some people coming in for a conference and, people were trying to get out.
Yeah.
Literally landed today and then tomorrow trying to get flights out. And we have a friend who was stuck in South Africa for 2 months. And so I had this, it was in, I think it was Hyde Park. And I had friends messaging me who had planned to come. Going, hey, listen, I've got young kids.
Yeah.
My elderly parents are living with me. And so I was trying to remember that probably had an impact on sales. But also not understanding what could book sales, so there was no reference point. Right, so you'll hear about bestsellers internationally, you'll hear about New York Times bestselling list and whatever, and people don't know the figures behind it. And then when you know the figures behind it and you look at that in relation to best-selling author in South Africa, and the numbers are, what's it? Fiction is what, 5,000?
Yeah, fiction is 5,000, and then non-fiction we can go up to 10,000. That's a bestseller.
So essentially, to be a best-selling author in a country with a population of close to 60 million, if you just sell 10,000,
sure,
and to sell the 10,000 is hard work. But when you're learning all of that, even though I've been around the industry, but when you're learning all of that by feeling all of that.
Because this is your project, it's a labor of love.
When you get sales records for a quarter, for me, the first time the quarter showed I'd sold 5 books. It's like I can count on one hand. So when my book was coming out, I was already thinking about my next book. And I remember my publisher saying, listen, just enjoy that moment. When I started getting sales figures, I was like, that's it, I'm done. I have written a book. I'm cool.
You've scratched that itch.
I don't feel like a total imposter anymore because I can add author to the name, not just writer.
I completely understand. I've had this talk with many authors who cannot believe it. When they get that record of royalties from the publisher, they think these people are lying. But that's the real number. Kiri's books a little better, I guess. Maybe also even the price, much better. You can go easy to 10,000. Remember, also schools will buy in bulk, especially for those authors like Refilwe Mwahludi is a full-time author. So she goes to schools and will do roadshows. So that's a bit better.
I met her
at the Penn Macmillan 21 years. Yes,
I ended up having a long chat with her.
Yes, so she is a full-time author. And talking about that point you made earlier about systems, she decided alone, because her first book was a self-published book, children's book, but she said it almost drained the creativity out of her, having to decide to send it to people, to look at the sales numbers. And then she decided, I'm a storyteller. I am going to tell stories. I don't care about copyright, owning anything. I want to have as many stories out there as possible. And that's what she's done. Between the 2 major publishers in the country, she's just churning them out. I mean, this year, I think we've launched 3 or 4 books at Book Circle Capital, just this year alone. So she's churning them out. She goes to schools. This last quarter, she's at schools in the Eastern Cape for the whole year. So it can be done. You can be a full-time author, but you probably have to make some concessions about your lifestyle, that kind of thing. But it can be done. So, but it's heartbreaking when you see those numbers. And as I always say, we are building wells we may never get to drink from, you know? Yeah.
And also that the discussion around ownership and self-publishing versus going to a publisher.
Yeah.
Which a lot of authors are not clear about.
Yeah.
And there's an emotional attachment to,
Yes.
because we've been told, and it is easier to self-publish.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, but then you own everything, and
Yes.
you're not getting a percentage.
Yes.
Because like a publishing agreement is like a music deal.
Yes.
Like you're getting a percentage, etc. But also not understanding the trade-off.
Yes.
And I've had that conversation with people, because people still come to me for advice on that, where I'm like, because I also self-published 2 poetry books, I'm kind of like, if a publisher is interested, I'd actually just rather, because I know I'm not doing it for the money.
Yes. We have to settle that up front.
So the minute I'm comfortable with the fact that I'm not going to make money off this thing.
Yeah.
If I do, that's a bonus.
Nice.
But that's not even, it's not a consideration. Then I want my father used to call it the easy man's way. He always said, I always look for the easy man's way.
Okay.
And I'm like, I just look for the most efficient way.
Yes.
So I'm just like, okay, well, writing is hard work.
Yes.
I'd rather just focus on that.
Yeah.
And have somebody make, with my input, decisions on this.
Distribution,
on
everything.
their expertise.
Yes.
And I remember Aikwe Ama, my father knew him quite well, but I went to watch him speak once, and he said, I remember in this talk he was asked about kind of writing a book, and he said, like writing a book is easy. It's getting the book out there that's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I guess these are the conversations that we need to have a lot more of.
Yeah. That point you made about money, I think you have to settle that upfront. It's amazing how many people think they're going to make a lot of money from books. Not in South Africa, not right now. Just settle that. The important thing is what's driving you, and that drive mustn't be money to have that story out. I got for Making Friends with Feelings, which have won a Penduring Award, which has been in a lot of schools. I got my first royalty payment this year. It came out in 2023, this year. And it was a pleasant surprise, but it wasn't even something that I was calling the publisher, hey, what's going on? What are we doing? How? Because I knew, but I got October was mental Health Awareness Month, and I got ethnic kids who are quite big in also making sure that they have books for children that did a whole recognition thing about this book, saying it's an important book for mental health for young boys. I was like, 3 years later, still, that's the reason why that book was important. They had clips from young boys who dressed up as the boy on the cover to go to school. That's the reason. The check is like, okay, nice, but boys who can dress up, instead of thinking of Roald Dahl or Harry Potter, nothing wrong with that. But they had a local story that they dressed up as, and they were enacting that at school.
And because there's so few for boys.
Yes.
Because, like you were saying earlier, the girls,
yes,
it's a bit easier.
Yes.
But there's so few for boys that I can see how they'd hook onto that. Yes. It's one of the few options outside of all the international stuff.
So your why for book world must be deeper than money.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also about it's also about recognizing. We had this conversation when we met at dinner. Because people ask me sometimes, I guess because the publishing industry is having the same challenges that many industries have, and perhaps even a bookshop will have, because a bookshop has limited space, right?
Yes.
Just like a publisher has limited warehousing.
Yes.
And so a lot of people don't understand that spacing issues will determine how long your book stays around.
On the shelves, yes.
And stays on the shelves. But we also live in a time with print on demand and stuff.
Yes.
That, like, our books will never actually go out of print.
No.
Right? Because even if there are no physical books in the world, if you buy online, chances are that book is going to be printed when you put in your order.
Yes, back orders. And when they get to that number, the publisher can say, wow, we've had 40, let's go. Yeah.
But with that, it's something that I'm working through in my head, and I have been for the last year or two. And I think back to the conversation we had, because you were like, no, like, come to the bookshop, let's do something at the bookshop. And I was like, yeah, but my book has already been out like 4 years. And I was like, no, that doesn't matter. And I guess as authors, sometimes we get caught up in that, to go, because we've had a book and because the business behind the book can only devote resources for a particular period of time, we assume that once that time ends, that's the kind of end of the process. Whereas it's like, I think of my book.
Yeah.
Most of it is around my experiences with my father, with my kids, around identity.
Yes.
My views may have evolved as I grow older.
Yes.
But what I've expressed is still relevant.
Exactly.
And so being able to kind of pick up on it and go, okay, maybe here's a moment.
Yeah, it's the title of the podcast.
Well, that's how I cheated it to a certain extent. That's how I cheated it to a certain extent. But it's also, it's also funny because, like, Listen to Your Footsteps has become the podcast.
Yes.
Whereas actually it's the book.
Yeah.
And it's just me taking what I shared in the book and getting that from other people.
Yes. And this is where authors have to be much more, I just wrote the book and leave me alone kind of thing. You have to stop that kind of thing. And I know if you're a creative and you had this burning desire to write a book, you can't think beyond that. But we almost need to think beyond that. It's like there are many other things. And at Book Circle Capital, our main thing is that our stories don't expire. They don't rot. Yuleta and I are still shocked that a book that would have on the shelf for so long, and then one day somebody says, I've been looking for, and we're like, you have? We almost marked it down and had it leave the shelf, So our stories, and every day to this day, it's our thing. We're like, books don't rot, because we see how much of it can come. We can still have a discussion in the shop today and linked it to the ethos, the themes you're raising in the book, to what's happening right now. As a marketer, I know you as a marketer. I did that post with you and Dion Chang at that Penn Macmillan thing, because you are the marketers that I looked up to when I was studying marketing, and I thought, what do marketers look like? And that's what I could see. So we can still connect that back to that to today, the book, the podcast, everything else around that. You may not even have thought this would lead to that, but so that's why authors have to think beyond just the creative work itself, especially nonfiction, because in South Africa, people love nonfiction. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get over it for some time to come.
It's because it's interesting. Well, it's entertaining for me.
Yeah.
You calling me a marketer when, I actually studied, I majored in marketing.
Yeah.
But I've always been seen as a media person. But how I see myself is I'm in the business of storytelling.
Okay.
So I understand both the creative side,
Yeah.
but I also understand the business side in terms of what you're talking about.
Yes.
In terms of creating an ecosystem.
Yes.
And we shifted from businesses as ecosystems to the individual's ecosystem.
Yeah.
We're still lagging. And we lag just because in terms of, so for example, if I know people who have newsletters internationally and they charge and they make decent income from it. But from a South African and African perspective, that's difficult for us.
Yes.
And it's difficult for two reasons. So I always say $5 for an African versus $5 in those days for an American, but the world is becoming very difficult as
debatable.
Well. But $5 for an African versus $5 for an American is two different things.
Yeah.
Which is why books continue to be a niche product.
Yes.
Right? That's the one part. But from a mechanism perspective, the payment mechanisms that they use are not supported in Africa. So I have a newsletter, but I cannot charge people because I can't get paid because the mechanism they're using to pay is not supported in the whole continent. But there are ways of creating that ecosystem around you.
Yeah.
I mean, this podcast, what's the name? Nicole Engelbrecht, who does True Crime Essay.
Yes.
And she just launched a book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was chatting to her, on, I think, WhatsApp, because we're part of the same group. And I was saying to her, like, it's interesting, like, I went the other way.
Yeah.
And she's gone podcast.
Then book.
And then book.
Yes.
And I've gone book and then podcast.
Yeah.
But I was having a conversation with a friend of mine last week, and I'm like, this podcast, we've done just over 100 episodes now.
Yeah.
So I've talked to just over 100 people.
Yeah.
The number of books I could get out of this podcast is insane.
Absolutely.
Anybody who's a parent, we talk about parenting.
Yeah.
I could literally do a book on parenting.
Yeah.
And I have quotes. I have all the quotes I need and all the different perspectives I need. And that's literally just one topic.
Yeah. What we don't have is time. I think it's just time to try and do it all. That's the only thing right now for me, what I feel. And that's why I have to be more disciplined about how I spend my time, because I could do so many things. It's just so exciting. I mean, that guy that did Jenny to Kwantu podcast, he did a podcast, then a book.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and you talk,
Musumzi,
yes, and you talk about, Chimamanda, when she launched her book after we waited for 10 years, in Germany, she was charging for her book launches. Sold out. Her tickets were being discussed like concert tickets to get into her launch. I was like, I cannot wait for when we get that for South Africa. So yeah, I don't know, but time.
I think there are two parts. There's time, but there is also what I know that you're doing, which is sharing that knowledge. Like, we do not have to do.
Yeah.
We do not have to do every single thing.
Yeah.
We may see it.
Yes.
But it's also kind of going, oh, hey, wait.
Yes.
I may not be able to do it, but that person right now, they can't see it. I can see they're looking for something.
Yes.
But what they're looking for is this thing. Hey, listen, by the way, you could do this.
Absolutely.
Here's an idea.
Yeah.
I don't need to know how you're going to unpack it. I don't need to know whether you're going to do it or not. It's just, hey, listen, here's an idea.
Yes.
If you do it, great. If it's a thing for you, great. If it's not, I interact a lot with Spusiso from SA Books Online.
Yes.
And I've done some mentorship. Like, I've mentored him and Pearl.
Yes.
And my whole thing is, it's a great idea. I see the value of it and I see what they can do with it. I'm not then going to chase after it. Like he has the energy for it.
Absolutely.
So I've sat with them and gone, think about this, think about that.
Yes.
Oh, this is how you're thinking about evolving it.
Yes.
I think that makes sense. That doesn't make sense.
Yes.
And I've sat down and worked with them on the stuff. And then it's not mine. Like once I've played my part,
yes,
I'm hands off until the next time you want to get advice or you want a thought, then I'm happy to give it.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times what ends up happening is that people want to take ownership
Yes. Oh no.
And it's like, okay, because you don't have the time to do it, you want to get this person to do it, but you want to take ownership of the process.
But it will still take a capacity in your brain because if you hang up on it like that, and that does not free up time to do the things that really you want to do. I talk to people quite often on a monthly basis. Someone will say, I want to do something similar to what you're doing in my town. Do you have time? I said, sure. We'll have a virtual conversation and then they'll ask me around space. They'll ask me, where do you stock your books? How do you do even? I'm happy to do that all the time because definitely for this to grow, you cannot like hold it so close. You have to be able to share this idea. And sometimes people already know, but they just want that person who in their mind, they seem to be excelling in it just to endorse it. And I'm always available as long as you don't want me physically there. If we can meet virtually and chat about it, let's do it.
And at the same time, nobody's ever going to do it the way you do it.
That's it.
And you can't do it the way they'll do it.
That's it. That really frees you up from even, I went to a thing last week where this lady's like, why are people bringing their staff members to these things? But why wouldn't you bring them? No, what if they take? I'm like, nobody's going to take anything from you. Nobody, if it's coming from that passion, nobody's going to do it exactly what you said, the way that you were going to do it. Sometimes even the stuff that I thought I was going to do comes out even better than the way I thought I was going to do it. So who copies that?
You talked about doing ultra marathons.
Yes.
You go back to a book. Have you read Haruki Murakami's What I Think About When I'm Running?
No, I must read it.
You must read it. I'm not a runner.
Yeah.
Well, at least any distance longer than 200 meters.
Yeah.
I was a sprinter.
Were you a sprinter? Okay,
Yeah,
that is cool.
So we used to do 2 kilometers for warm up.
Yes.
And maybe a kilometer for cool down. And for me, that was the longest I was willing to do. I've tried jogging at various stages of my life. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, reading that book
I must look into it.
was fascinating in terms of kind of the mind of a runner.
Yes.
But what got you into it and what did you get out of it?
Okay. I can't remember exactly what got me into it, but my brother is a runner. He still runs to this day. So I left him after I got what I got out of it. I think mainly it was something we did together, which was cool. I've always jogged. I'll do like a 2 kilometer, 5 kilometer. And then there was this year where I watched Comrades on TV, and I was just amazed that people can hang on for that long, and watching that finish and how they felt, and there was something about it. And that year I decided. So my first one I think was 2018. I think 2017 I watched it online, and I thought to myself, I want to do this thing. I've always just ran for exercise. My mom is a walker. So I grew up, she's very much on let's go outside. So we'd go in the morning during school holidays and jog every now and then. So it's always been there, but then not distance. But then when I watched it on TV, when I saw that 2016, 2017, I always thought I want to do this thing. Then we started preparing for it. What I got out of it is resilience and the discipline in the build up to it, because we're counting kilometers in the build up. You're watching have you ran? You have to have the long run in the weekend, during the week, at least a 10K here. Just trying to work. I mean, that time it was before COVID. So I still went. I remember I even worked for ABSA then. So I was commuting between them and Centurion. So I had to organize my life to say, where do I run today? Always had running shoes in the car. I knew that I'll park. My brother lived in Midrand. I park in Midrand, we run, then I go home. So just organizing your life. Thankfully, it was before kids and marriage and all of that. So it was easier to manage. There's no picking up anybody from anything. So I just love that it gave me the freedom to organize my life. And it's easier. It's still one of the cheapest sports, besides the races, the cheapest sports to get into, because you just need running shoes and comfortable gear. And just that staying on it when everything else tells you to stop. One of my last ones, I was like, what am I doing here? I had this niggling injury, and I just love the discipline of it and knowing that you can conquer your mind. I think that's what I love.
Yeah, but read the book.
I will.
Because I mean, so I'm a fan of Murakami.
Yes.
He was one of those, like, I'd hear the name.
Yes.
And you must have read Murakami.
Yes.
Like, he's one of those names. And I'd hear his name for a long time. Like, even in like a bookshop.
Yes.
I remember walking in a bookshop and hearing the two salespeople talking, and it's like, have you read Murakami? And I was like, And then I read his short stories.
Okay.
I thought, do you know what? And I mean, I read between my Kindle and physical books. And I've had a Kindle for, I think I bought my first Kindle 20 plus years ago. Like one of the first ones that came out. And because of that, I'll try books out. With the Kindle, it got me to try books out. Like, I'll buy a book that I'm not sure about because it was cheaper.
Yes.
And so I remember reading his short stories, and I read like 2 collections. And he has a tempo and a pacing that just fits me to a T.
Wow.
Like so the way he writes in general is, it feels very steady. It's like, to a certain extent, plodding along, which doesn't seem like what you'd want from a book, but
especially short stories.
But I found that I just connect to that.
Wow.
Like, and then even I was worried when I started reading his novels, because I was like, okay, will I get bored? Because of this steady tempo. And I found that I don't. Like, there's moments of action, but the way he writes, and I don't know if it's the translation, but I just found like I connected with the way he writes. And so, although I don't run, I then read, what I think about when I'm running or while I'm running. And it's kind of part biography, but it's him. It's now, because when you read his stories, when you read his fiction, the line between him and the characters feels very blurred. Like, you don't, like, I don't know whether it's him or it's the character.
It's made up,
but I get the sense that it's totally made up. But there's a way that he writes that does that. But I I'd recommend for anybody that runs marathons or whatever, I'd even be curious. I still want to get somebody who still runs, to read it and then come and tell me what they got out of it. Because I am relating to it from a writing perspective and a feeling perspective, as opposed to knowing what that that resilience. Okay, it hurts now. But I'm gonna keep going.
I'll definitely check it out. I haven't written it off running. I think later. I've heard that the older you get, the better. I don't know how true is that, but I'm looking at the people that finish, older people that finish there and still looking steady, I can believe it. Apparently, the older you are, the much more mature, better runner you are, because then it's not about PBs and all of that. So your reasons are much more solid than just the garment and the watch. So maybe one day I'll go back when I've sorted out all my injuries and my technique. I don't know. But there's a discipline about it that I love. That just orders my life in a certain way. I still walk a lot now. I have to walk at least, every second day, because there's something that just switches from that time. Even if it's less than a kilometer, I just feel something different after I do that. Yeah,
It's, I guess, its own form of meditation.
absolutely.
I mean, I was just reading about mindful walking.
Yeah.
From one of the masters, Buddhist masters. Wrote The Art of Living,
Yeah.
book Art of Living,
Okay.
and he talks about mindful walking.
Wow.
But it's like it's very deliberate in terms of your steps and your breathing, and I need to kind of go back over it and remember the technique of it, because I mean, it talks about even walking slower
The
to
cadence.
start, but the feel of the ground beneath your
Wow.
feet. So it's very deliberate, but it's one of those, as we were talking earlier on, like kind of, I read lots of books and I'll take
There's
one
so
or
many
two,
books I need to read from today.
one or two things from one or two things from each book or each system or each thought.
Yes.
But yeah, like mindful walking was the one thing that stood out for me.
Yeah.
It's like, thinking about where you put your feet
Wow.
and your breath and the rhythm of your breath versus your steps. And
Yeah.
because if you're a runner,
Yes. You have to watch that.
there's an automaticness to breath and
Step. Yes. There is.
which I also got as a sprinter. Like when you're training,
Yes.
you're training all of those things.
Yes. Especially with comrades where you're climbing. So you adjust. As you see the hill now, you almost have a rhythm that could be like a song as you're climbing until you finish. So yeah. There's so many books I need to read after this conversation today.
Stick around. Like I do read a lot, I've been told. I always did like a target
Yeah.
reading challenge for the year.
Yes,
like
yes,
on
yes.
Goodreads. This year, for the first time, I've kind of gone, I'm no more going to be driven by that, I need to meet the target. And so I've read fewer books. And then I was looking the other day and it's like, okay, fewer books is like 35.
Yeah. That's still a target.
And the people be like, what do you mean 35? And I'll be like, yeah, but it doesn't feel, because I mean, I've read like 4 or 5 graphic novels but they're thick graphic novels.
Yes.
And I tell people, like, I believe reading is reading. Like, I'm not going to judge you on what you read.
Absolutely.
Just read.
Yeah.
And I say that, but then I'll go, yeah, but these 5 don't really feel like I've read because they were, they were graphic novels with pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. But we need to stop that. I find sometimes I'm snobbish and like, what are you reading? But that's not fair, because especially with a parent where you see with your kids also what they like to read. When they were much younger, you were quite like, you curated what they like to read. And when the works like people like Book Dash and Nali Bali, who are intentional about getting kids to read, they say even if your child picked up like Farmers Weekly, let them. They are reading. Our eldest now is beginning to like tech and gadget magazines. So he's reading.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because my kids stopped.
Yeah.
It's partially my fault. I bought them iPads.
Yeah. They'll come back to it, I'm
They
told.
went the other way. I don't know. Hopefully.
Yeah.
All I can do is serve as an example for them.
Yes. Yes. As a bookseller, I get that question a lot. How do I get my parents to read? My kids to read? And I ask, do you read? And then when we can't talk any further, I'm like, okay, you know what to do. Because kids don't do what we say. They do what we do.
Yeah, that's always an entertaining one, because people see the benefit, but they don't do it themselves.
Sewela, no, man. what do you mean? I'm like, my kids read now because I can see it's harder for them to read naturally. They read because I read. I switch off everything. I'm like, we are reading. And then they'll first resist and crap around. And then finally they'll find something. And I don't even stretch it. If it was 10 minutes, and I'm like, go. But I started by reading. I switched off the devices. Yeah.
Nah, like I gave up a long time ago in terms of chasing after them to do
Yeah.
stuff. I just read
Yeah.
and then hope for the best.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're gonna have a lot of books to get rid of when I'm gone.
They'll have a sale.
Somebody else is gonna benefit immensely from the day I'm gone.
Yeah.
Because also I'm not worried about. I mean, like I collect comic books. I have a bookshop of books.
Yeah.
I have got some in storage. So, I mean, I think I have a good, 1,000 plus.
Yeah.
Like maybe 1,500 books.
Yeah.
Fortunately, a bunch are on Kindle, and I also started buying more on Kindle when I started running out of space.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, when I'm gone, like I'm not expecting them to sit and read. They can keep what they want. They want to get rid of them. I bought them because they give me joy. In the present.
Yes. Yes.
So, what's exciting you right now?
Right now, rest. What's coming? November is the last month of pushing like events and whatever that's happening at the shop. So December, I look forward to proper rest. Hanging out with my boys like proper, not trying to steal time in between school runs and whatever. So that's what I'm looking forward to. In the new year, I'm looking forward to studying. I want to see if I can pursue my studies. I don't know what that looks like just yet, but those are the main things. Rest. I think rest, that's me.
Useful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.